This is called Lexon 1. We are going over Super Nintendo this game. Game Boy Advance, overlay, action figure, games, and the Turbo graphics. Express or the Turbo Express from these. And we have an action figure that was to me for the Tron 2.0 video game, which has been opened. I don't know how many of these they ended up selling. The game did particularly well. It wasn't a bad game. The game was rather fun. I don't think many people bought it because they weren't really familiar with the Tron name. Tron Legacy, of course, coming out in the theaters, and maybe they'll revise the interest in Tron. Maybe this will be some. I think it's right. Okay, this is a card unit from Nago, the Shock and Awe. It had gave stereo sound, it gave rumble capability, and a battery. Gave a little extra battery boost. I think to Game Boy Advance. That's where it power right there. And it actually was pretty good. When you want stereo sound coming out, but back to light, so you had this and a light, how they're going to connect to it, so you could actually see what was going on the screen. Game Boy Advance itself was terrible. So this is a mechanical power block. It's actually pulled out like a tape measure, and like that. I do all one hand, so I can hold the iPhone. And you power up your. This was actually made with the Game Boy Advance. So 10 hours. You could spin back with this when it wasn't frozen. Because now, well, now you can't do one hand. And that little belt, I guess up here, you walk around to the belt. Come on, there you go. Here we have the Atari Jaguar memory track. Atari Jaguar actually have internal memory because it actually used cartridges, but they had a CD system at the end of the Atari Jaguar's life, and they didn't have a way to save games on CD because obviously you can't do that, so they had to come up with a memory card. So they had a cartridge slot on the back. This giant thing, friends, is the memory card that they use to save games on. They still save games on this. I don't know how long they last, or if they're battery backed up, or if it's sort of RAM that's holding onto it, whatever. But they're, yeah, horror game like Evergrass show over. See what that focus. Show over loose loop squish. I don't know what I'm gonna do. What do I do with it? I can keep it. We have an old television RCA box. So the game, switch to TV. This is our the spot game system. This would be your antenna on your roof, and this would get screwed into the TV. Normally you would have little clips on these, but a lot of times those clips would break. Sometimes it would even bust off, believe it or not. And or would hair off because they didn't have the screwdriver at the time. Then they would spray the wire and screw them on that way. And that worked. I think it's to an RCA video, but I'm not sure. It's really old. It's definitely 1970. May have come from one of the tape long systems they had, but they're all pretty much interchangeable. Well, the RF adapter fits here, which typically does because it's just standard RCA cable. So the power supply for the Game Boy Advance, the little Cobra eyes light up, plug into the Cobra power pack. Yeah. This here is the hand, sorry about the glare, of twisted metal black water. It's right there, water. Came out of twisted metal black, the first release, which was one of the launch games that came with the table portion of the PlayStation 2. So that's for mail to me was popping. Actually, did want to keep popping because it's steel plastic bag.